So the RFK Jr. confirmation hearing was today, and look, I don't always agree with everything RFK Jr. says and does, but that's okay. I think we need to move away from feeling like we have to agree with every single thing a person says. I don't know when America became like this. I think the internet definitely made it worse. But we got to this point where people feel like, hey, my views have to 100% align with yours in order for me to like you or accept you, respect you, or appreciate you. It's like people feel the need that they have to agree with you on 100% of everything in order to want to interact with you or something along those lines. It's hard to explain, but I wish we could move away from that. Because in my opinion, what matters most is just a few core values. Like, yeah, we could disagree on a lot of things. As long as you got certain core values, I think we'll be okay. And I appreciate accepting people from different viewpoints and different walks on life. And I've always had a certain level of respect for RFK and a lot of the work that he's done. But today I grew an even a new level of respect for him. Because one thing I value and respect in a person is someone who's willing to stand firmly on their beliefs. And today the Democrats, the left, were trying to throw everything they could at RFK Jr. I could hardly watch the confirmation hearing because on one hand, not to be offensive, you got RFK Jr.'s voice, which is kind of hard to listen to in itself. And then on the other hand, you got a bunch of screaming leftists that are all whining and just, wee! It was just, man, it was terrible. But RFK Jr. held his own. And there were a few moments where you could tell that most politicians would bend on their views just to be accepted. They would bend on their views because they're in front of a crowd of people who disagree. RFK Jr. did not bend. There was one point when Elizabeth Warren wanted RFK Jr. to basically come out and say that he wouldn't hold pharmaceutical companies accountable for anything they've done, that he wouldn't sue any of these companies. And RFK Jr. refused to bend the knee there. And what did Elizabeth Warren do? Oh, God! Literally. That's basically what happened. I'll let you all see for yourself really quickly, and then I'll be right back with more.
I'm asking about fees from suing drug companies. Will you agree not to do that?
You're asking me to not sue drug companies,
no,
and I'm not going to agree to that,
drug
Senator.
Companies as much as you want.
I'm not going to agree to not sue drug companies or anybody.
So let's do a quick count here of how, as Secretary of HHS, if you get confirmed, you could influence every one of those lawsuits. Well, let me start the list. You could publish your anti-vaccine conspiracies, but this time on U.S. government letterhead, something a jury might be impressed by. You could appoint people to the CDC vaccine panel who share your anti-vax views and let them do your dirty work. You could tell the CDC vaccine panel to remove a particular vaccine from the vaccine schedule. You could remove vaccines from special compensation programs, which would open up manufacturers to mass torts. You could make more injuries eligible for compensation, even if there is no causal evidence. You could change vaccine court processes to make it easier to bring junk lawsuits. You could turn over FDA data to your friends at the law firm, and they could use it however it benefited them. You could change vaccine labeling. You could change vaccine information rules. You could change which claims are compensated in the vaccine injury compensation program. There's a lot of ways that you can influence those future lawsuits and pending lawsuits while you are Secretary of HHS, and I'm asking you to commit right now that you will not take a financial stake in every one of those lawsuits so that what you do as secretary will also benefit you financially down the line?
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
Senator, I support vaccines. I support the childhood schedule. I will do that. The only thing I want is good science, and that's it.
How about then say you won't make money off what you do as Secretary of HHS?
Isn't she supposed to be like Native American or something? I don't understand. How can anyone trust someone to be truthful with them when they can't even be true to themselves? This fake Pocahontas around here yelling at RFK. Meanwhile, you had no problem with Anthony Fauci making countless amounts of money for, I don't even really want to get into it on this video because I don't want my channel deleted. But let's just be real here. You're talking about, RFK Jr., he's going to make millions of dollars and he's going to get rid of the vaccines and he's going to do this. What about Anthony Fauci? Your best friend. The guy you tried to pretend like was a huge hero, yet for some reason, Biden had to pardon him. Basically a blanket pardon that went all the way back to 2014. So you had nothing to say about that criminal who's responsible for the death of countless people. And we all know it for a fact. That's why he was pardoned. You had no problem with him lining his pockets as he literally murdered people all around the world, basically. But RFK Jr. wants to look at a few things and make sure things are a little more ethical and safe, and it's a problem. All of this is performative outrage. And one thing people need to realize about politics is that people like Elizabeth Warren, people like her, they scream and screech the loudest when someone's trying to do something that actually helps the American people. That's why they hate Trump so much. Because he actually, for real, wants to do things that will help the American people. RFK Jr. actually wants to help the American people instead of destroying them. That's why they are freaking out. If RFK wanted to destroy them, they would love him and treat him like a hero, just like Anthony Fauci. So understand that when you look at politics, the people that they demonize the most are the good guys. That's the reality of the situation, at least right now. And it makes you kind of question history a little bit too. But I want you guys to let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And if you find yourself getting too worked up by all of this, remember, it's just political cinema.